Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Death of Art. We're in Bushwick, Brooklyn, where street art in recent years has completely exploded. There are entire streets which are covered with beautiful, interesting, and sometimes mind-boggling work. Let's take a look. What we're mostly going to look at today is street art. Street art is defined as many different things. In fact, it doesn't have even a set definition. It's just art on the street. But I want to separate that from graffiti art. Graffiti art is basically translation small writings from the Latin, and is really specifically writings. And by small, I don't mean small this way, but small as in short. Now, this is classical New York City graffiti art. You would see this in the 80s, the 90s, even possibly end of the 70s. It looks something like this. And we're mostly not going to see this today, but there'll be some of it around. So let's take a look at what we find. Once upon a time, Bushwick was a burnt-out, disused industrial neighborhood. In the 70s, there were riots here, and the neighborhood just declined and declined. Another neighborhood nearby, called Williamsburg, became a great hipster and artistic center. And the rents went skyrocket high and pushed a lot of the artists who couldn't afford those rents into Bushwick. And now you have the same industrial spot, but it's covered with art. And the rules are much looser because empty streets, nobody cares if you actually graffiti them, if you vandalize them. And clearly this isn't vandalism. In my day, it was all vandalism, but this is beautiful. Look at it. What you see here, you used to be able to see on any subway train riding into a station. Imagine all of this color, all of this graffiti on the sides of trains as they blew into stations, day in and day out. That part of New York is gone, but it's still alive out here, which is fantastic. One of the most amazing phenomena about public art and street art is the way many people will come together randomly, use the same wall, the same space to put up whatever they're going to put up, and then over time it becomes its own thing. And there's no intention behind it, which makes it even more interesting. It becomes a work that is cumulative and also affected by weather, time, and so forth, and you have something magnificent. Now, my point of view in many cultures would not be valid. That's why we have international superstar Z to actually look at this under a different paradigm. Now, Z, do you see all of this decay, all of this sort of entropy as art?
Yes, I do see it as art, and it's like collective effort. Whenever somebody looks at this piece, maybe that person can see what he or she can add to this piece, or express himself or herself to add to the common message.
I just want to point out a phenomenon that happens with street art, which I think is lovely. Over the years, Mother Nature starts to take the walls back a little bit, but some of the art remains, and some of Mother Nature does her weird little work with it. And sometimes you end up with textures, patinas, which are better than when the thing was brand new and fresh. I didn't know what to expect, and this is great. This is real New York City graffiti style. It's evolved since the 80s and 90s, but it's absolutely beautiful, and there's been one after another after another. This little trip into Bushwick has been a real surprise. Please like, please subscribe, and please ring the bell.